Hello and welcome back to Full Tuck, the Wingspan podcast with me, Adam.
And with me, Aidan. So we're back for another week, Adam.
Back for another week and we've got a new look.
Yeah, we have got a brand new look. Hopefully a few of you have noticed.
Yeah, new look, same podcast, same content.
Still Adam, still Aidan.
Yeah.
Still Wingspan.
Still Wingspan, indeed, yeah. And there's been a lot of Wingspan this week, hasn't there?
Yeah. It's been...
a lot for me.
Yeah, it's been a good week for it.
Yeah, 10 games I've had.
Is it actually?
I've had 10 games since we've last recorded.
Right.
Yeah, so eight with my mum.
Yeah.
As part of a campaign, which we'll talk about later. One with my mum and Mark, my brother, and his girlfriend. And then we had a game last night, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, a little four-player.
You, me, and two of our friends. Well, Ellie, your girlfriend.
Ellie, my girlfriend, and then Beth, one of our other friends
Beth,
as well.
who's our friend, who is very, very generous and is called.
And she kept true to form, didn't she, last night? Incredibly generous with some of the birds she was playing.
Beth was, yeah. Although I do have a question, mate, for you. Have you been listening to anything I've been saying on this show?
What do you mean?
Well, with your performance like yours last night. I just thought you need to go back to episode 1.
I can't have been from any advice that you were giving anyway.
Shoddy work from you, I thought. So, yeah. I think you need to go back and listen to episode 1.
I think I scored 139. That's not dreadful.
It's all relative though, mate, isn't it?
Fine, fair enough. Adam had a great performance, to be fair. Was it 150 in the end? Yeah, 150. It was very good. But I mean, starting with the Bioweaver in your starting hand is not is a little helping hand off the start, isn't it?
You can only play the birds that you have.
That's true.
You can only beat, and you can only beat who's in front of you.
Look,
and in my case, the people in front of me, no match. So yeah, start episode 1, mate. Listen to everything I say. And then see. I actually went back and listened to episode 1 the other day just to see how far we've come. Because, last week we spoke about our new listeners. And actually now might be an opportunity to welcome our listeners from the US.
Yeah, we've had a few more, haven't we?
So about 20% of our listenership are now from the US. I mean, it just blows my mind that people want to listen to us from the other side of the world. And so we are very, very grateful that you do.
I mean, it's brilliant. Obviously, Wingspan is a primarily a US-based game originally, and that's obviously where the base game birds are from. And so I can imagine there's a pretty large fan base in America that hopefully we can start tapping into. So if you are a US listener, welcome. You are very welcome.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
We hope you enjoy some of this content. If there's any kind of particular ideas for content or stuff you want to hear about, we'd love to hear from you, so please do write in, fulltuckpodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Or comment on any of the platforms wherever you might be listening, and let us know. Yeah. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to find out where you're listening from and some ideas, and maybe your experience as a Wingspan.
Yeah, and one correction from my end, actually. We have had a very special US fan actually get in contact with us this week. Previously named JK49 Fan, to my eternal embarrassment, is actually JK49er fan, as in San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. That's my Anglo-centric view of the world.
Look, you've got to excuse that we're not American football fans.
Growing up, I nominally considered myself a 49ers fan.
Well, in that case, you have no excuse. I consider myself excused, but you have no excuse at all.
So we actually had a very lovely email in from JK49 fan.
Yeah,
let's say it differently now. Who is our favourite stats man?
Yeah. We have to say that now
about the show, and so he's now up to 600 games on his database, and I think we might try and tap into that database a little bit more in the future. So watch this space. It's great to have you on board, Mr. Irfan, and we will hopefully be chatting again sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely
How
welcome.
about that? That's enough rambling, isn't it?
Let's get on with it.
So this week, we've got a good opening hand, quite a few comments.
Yeah, so we've got... it was an interesting opening hand from last week, wasn't it? I thought it was... challenging in a slightly different way, but we'll get into that. And we've had some nice comments as well.
And it's also, we've never done a 5-player either.
Yeah,
this is our first 5-player.
Definitely adds a different dynamic, doesn't it?
Definitely does. Makes those pink powers very, very strong.
And a few kind of, I suppose it's kind of divided opinion to a degree from some of the the feedback we've had from some of you guys, including a listener from Kazakhstan, which is very exciting.
So we're global now.
Yeah.
Then Bird of the Week. I think we're going to Bird of the Week one of the birds in the opening hand, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
And it's not going to be the little penguin, spoiler.
Specifically one from the tray, but we'll leave that as a little surprise for later on.
And then finally, I think we should talk about this campaign I did with my mum, because I think campaigns are just a brilliant way to make any game a little bit more different. And especially if you're playing just two people, it's a great way that you can change the game just slightly. And so I think we should talk about this campaign I did this weekend, and maybe very briefly mention some of the other ones that the listeners could also try if they want in the future. How does that sound?
Sounds lovely.
Great.
That's lovely. Let's get stuck into this opening hand then.
Come on then.
So a little reminder for you guys at home who may not have seen this. So our opening hand review from last week includes the red-backed shrike, which is a bird that lives in the grasslands or fire, as we occasionally refer to it. It eats a witch tea, a rat, and an anything, 5 bird points, brown when activated power, steal a witch tea grub from another player's supply and cache it on this bird. They gain 1 food from the bird feeder. The small Minivet, which lives in the forest, costs a witch tea grub, 3 bird points, white when played power, play an additional bird in your forest, and you can ignore a witch tea grub or an egg in its cost. The little penguin, which costs 3 fish and lives in the water, 7 points. Predator, when activated brown power, draw and discard 5 cards from the deck. For each fish in their food cost, cache 1 fish from the supply on this bird, notably a star nest and a star wingspan. The white-crested laughing thrush lives in the forest, costs a witch tea, a wheat and a cherry, 6 bird points. Brown, when activated flocking power, tuck a card from your hand behind this bird. If you do, gain a witch tea, wheat or cherry from the bird feeder. And the scaled quail, which lives in the grasslands, costs a wheat, 0-point bird, and a brown, when activated power, lay an egg on this bird.
Your bonus cards are Nest Box Builder, which is birds with cavity nests, and to get the full points, which is 7 points, you need 6 or more birds. And then the second bonus card is Enclosure Builder, and that is birds with pebbles or stones nests, and again, to get 7 points, you need 6 birds.
And then we've got the face-up tray, so we've got the tawny frogmouth, which can live anywhere, costs 2 witch teas and a rat, 5 points. Brown predator, when activated power, reset the bird feeder, gain a witch tea or a rat from the bird feeder, and cache it on this card if it's available. The Australian magpie, which lives in the grasslands, costs a witch tea and 2 rats, 4 bird points and a yellow game end power. Discard an egg from each bird in this row and column that has an egg on it. Excluding this bird, for each discarded egg, cache 2 wheats from the supply on this bird. And then finally the common nighthawk, which can live anywhere, costs 2 witch teas, 3 bird points. Brown, when activated power, if this bird is to the right of all other birds in its habitat, move to another habitat.
Then lastly, your your end of round goals are: round 1, beaks facing right; round 2, cards in hand; round 3 is a fan-made Jacob Bruner special, which we should definitely talk about another time.
Definitely.
And that is total wingspan in 1 row. So you add up all of the wingspans of the birds in a row. That's your score. And then round 4 is cherries and wheats in food costs of your birds. It's a 5-player game. You're going 5th. And for anyone who's new, there are always links to photos of this in the show notes. So you can actually look at the photos, because I know that I prefer to do that rather listen or read it.
Yeah. Definitely. It's definitely worth having a look.
Right then, Aidan, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's an interesting one this week. I think that there are probably 3 birds that stick out at me as being particularly strong. I suppose the main things to take out from this are it is a 5-player game, so there's probably going to be, or there's likely to be, some free resources being handed around.
Yeah.
Pink powers are likely to be strong, although there aren't any pink powers in your hand. What do you go for? I mean, the little penguin. Oh, what a card that is! I love it. It's obviously a very cute looking little card, and I know it's a bit of a fan favourite amongst our friends. I'm sure it is amongst some of you listeners at home as well. The obvious challenge of it is that it costs 3 fish to get down, which is difficult in round 1, even with nectars in play. The white-crested laughing thrush is probably the other powerful card that I can see in there. I think it's brilliant. It obviously it's an expensive bird, but it's tuck a card to gain one of those 3 foods, which I think is really strong.
Yeah.
So, once you've got that down, you can get 3 foods and a tuck for every time you're in the forest for round 1, which is probably going to facilitate you then playing the penguin. So the challenge I'm seeing really is what your first few goes are. I think if you keep the laughing thrush and the penguin, you and no other cards, you've not got a free card to tuck under the laughing thrush.
Yep.
To activate its power.
Yep.
So you need to keep another card just as a tucking card. But then if you do that, you only get to keep 2 foods and a nectar, which is all the food that you need to play the laughing thrush. And therefore, when you pick up food, if you play the laughing thrush for go 1 and then gain food and activate the laughing thrush for go 2, you can only possibly have 2 fish or nectars and then one of the laughing thrush's food, which is not a fish or nectar. Therefore, you don't have enough to play the penguin.
So what do you do?
So it's really hard. So I don't know. It starts to make you think about goes like picking up a single food as your first go, but I think that's really challenging.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit stuck, to be honest. I'm a bit stuck. I think what I would probably do, given it's a 5-player game and there is a likelihood of getting something for free, I would keep the little penguin, the laughing thrush, and an other card, probably the Minivet, because I think it's the most powerful of the 3, but in all likelihood it's going to be tucked under the laughing thrush as it's go. That's what's going to happen.
Interesting.
And I'll keep the Pebble Nest Enclosure Builder bonus card, and my first go will be to play the laughing thrush, and I will see what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens. I mean, the other thing to say is that I really do like the Tawny Frogmouth.
Yeah.
I think it's a very high percentage chance predator power. But you're going 5th. It's not going to be there. Let's be honest, it's not going to be there.
Yeah, so this is my thing. I'd really, really hope it would still be there because I think it can absolutely make a game, the Tawny Frogmouth can. So that would be my priority, to keep it if it's still there. But I think we have to assume it won't be.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think my play is probably going to be similar. I'm going to reluctantly keep the little penguin because it's the only water bird.
Reluctantly? Okay.
Yeah, it's a frustrating bird, isn't it?
It can be, although it can also be... Occasionally, you'll activate it and get like 4 fish in one go, and you'll be like, "Oh, this is a brilliant bird."
But how many times would you have activated it to get there?
But that's the fun of it.
I love it.
It's
beautiful. It's 7 points. It's a star nest.
Yeah.
But I'm more often left frustrated from it than not. Do you know the data on the little penguin? The stats?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I would imagine it's relatively. It's not maybe doesn't.
Chances of getting 0 fish, 40%. Chances of getting 1 fish, 29%. 2 fish, 18%. 3 fish, 7%. Anything more is just tiny.
Yeah.
So I think if you're keeping it, you shouldn't be keeping it because you think it's going to be an absolute point spinner for fishies.
No.
And occasionally it will be. It will be. Especially I think if you're playing the cards version of the game when it's rather than the online version of the game. My argument there is that naturally, with so many cards, you're not going to shuffle them truly randomly. So naturally, you're going to collect water chains and water birds together because they're going to be together on the bottom row. You then pack the game away, do a little shuffle. They maybe only get shuffled twice. So if you suddenly see a couple of fish in a row on one pile, I just carry on going for that pile. So if you find a good pile, I think you're all right. So I'd probably keep the little penguin, and then I'd keep the. It depends. I think might only just keep 1 on this one. Keep the little penguin, and then just spam the little penguin for a while to see what else I could get to pick up to go in the trees or the fire. Because for the exact point you make, that laughing thrush is a great bird. But unless you've got cards to tuck underneath it, you're not really getting the benefit. I did consider keeping the scale quail because it just gets you up on the eggs quite quickly.
Yeah, I can see that. I think
it's fair to say you haven't had a great start this game, have you? There's no synergy. There's no
easy answer for your first few goes. There's no there's no just do this. It's really tricky because you'd almost be tempted to not keep the penguin.
Yeah.
Because of how challenging it is to play.
Have you ever kept 0?
That's a very good question. Have I ever kept 0? I think I have, but I think the only time I've done it is if I'm going first or maybe second, and there is clearly a bird in the tray that I'm going to pick up. I think that would be the only time it would be.
I've kept 0 once.
Reasonable to do it.
Kept 0 once just because of that. There's a bird in the tray you want to pick it up immediately and then just get going with that. but it's a risky play, certainly.
It definitely is.
What have the fans said? Have they?
So we've got Will, who's done the same as me. He's kept the little penguin and the laughing thrush and the enclosure builder, and then aiming for a water chain. And yeah, similarly, would like to keep the Minivet, but can't, essentially because it's tricky. I agree. I really like the Minivet. I think it's a brilliant card.
Read out the Minivet.
So the Minivet is the when played power, and you get to play another bird, but you get a discount of either a witch tea or an egg.
Yeah.
And it is itself a 3-point bird and only costs a witch tea. I think it's in this collection of birds that are... There's obviously a whole set of birds which are play another bird. And originally the base game ones were play another bird in this habitat, pay its normal food cost. But there are some great ones that in that, the red-eyed vireo is a star nest 3-pointer, brilliant. And then in more recent expansions, they've released some with kind of a slight more interest about it. So, for example, this one played with a discount. There's one that does that in the grasslands as well.
Yeah.
There's one that does it in the wetlands as well.
Isn't it?
So, and it's just, it almost is like a free bird, It's like a free bird down, which contributes to bonus cards, which contributes to end of round goals, which gets you further up the chains.
Yeah.
I think they're really good.
Couldn't
they're
agree
really
more.
good.
Yeah, Will's comment about the little penguin. I have never and will never say no to the little penguin.
Yeah.
Which I think is the way many people feel about it. And I originally felt like that, but I've gone full circle on him. He's a cheeky little
that's interesting.
penguin.
I think you're gonna make some enemies with those kind of comments. Honestly. And then Simon, our fan from Kazakhstan, thank you for getting in touch. He says not great starters because they're expensive. I think we probably echo that.
True.
I think it's really funny, isn't it? Because when you look at them, there's some nice high pointers.
Elephant in the room, Diane.
Yeah, so Diane's really gone in on the Shrike.
I think the Shrike is a terrible card.
I know.
Quote.
Yeah.
I agree with her.
Do you?
I 100% agree with you. Diane,
I think it's got its place. I think it's got its place. 5-pointer. It's almost guaranteed activation with that brown power in a 5-player game. Yeah. Someone's going to have a grub in there.
For the listener, the Shrike is a brown, when activated, steal 1 witch tea grub from another player's supply and cash it on this bird. They gain 1 food from the bird feeder.
Yeah.
And it costs 3 food to do that.
It does.
So, yeah, I couldn't agree more. You've got excellent taste in birds.
She's also keen on getting hold of that Nighthawk if it stays in the tray. What do you think about that?
Interesting, but listen, I back her, given that she thinks the Shrike's terrible. Dear me. Right, so write in with comments, thoughts.
Yeah, let us know.
There will be episode 8, Bird Hand Challenge, will be in the show notes, and we'd love to hear what you think. We love the comments, wherever they come from. So thanks for that, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Do let us know.
Right, have a quick break, and we'll be back with some more Full Tuck podcast.
Welcome back. So we're going to get stuck into a bird of the week, and it's one from our opening hand review, the Australian Magpie.
Yeah. Why didn't you pick it up, Aidan?
Do you know what? Not a bird I think is particularly strong.
The stats say otherwise.
I know they do. And so again, for those who weren't tuning in previous weeks, the Stonemaier and Monster Couch release of stats from the online version of the game, which collects data from the first month of Asia being introduced into the app, and highlighted the strongest performing birds from each of the expansions. That the top 10 it highlighted, in particular the top 5, and the Australian Magpie from the Oceania expansion, as the name suggests, came, was it 4th within Oceania?
4th.
Yeah. So clearly a high performing bird, and that outperformed
Kakapo.
Yeah.
Plains Wanderer. So Kakapo is draw 4 bonus cards, keep 1 of them. Plains Wanderer is draw a bonus card for each bird in your grasslands.
Unbelievable.
So
outperform things like the Maine duck and
Maine duck isn't even in the top 10 of Oceania. Is Maine duck an Oceania bird?
I think it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's clearly from both of us a undervalued bird.
Yeah,
isn't it? And so the Australian Magpie is a game end yellow power. It costs 1 witch tea grub and 2 rats. It can only live in the grasslands.
Yeah.
And the game end is discard 1 egg from each bird in this row and column that has an egg on it, excluding this bird. For each discarded egg, cash 2 wheats from the supply on this bird. So what you're doing is basically doubling the number of eggs that you've got, really. But the maximum you can get is you can turn 6 eggs into 12 eggs. Is that correct?
Well,
you can have a bird above and below, and then you can have a bird 4 either side. Exactly. So that's 6 birds. So you can the maximum you can turn is 6 eggs to 12 eggs.
So I think this is where, so to me,
which is hard to do.
Exactly. So the maximum you can, so it's got 4 points right on this card. So the maximum possible points that this bird can contribute to your. In its own right, if you disregard 10, it counting towards bonus cards, it's 10, right? So you can only possibly get 10 points from this bird's power and its points that are associated with it. And in order to do that, you have to fill the column that it's in, which is likely if you play it early enough.
Yeah, you'll fill the column. Yeah,
and also make sure you fill that row, which again is not that difficult to do, but it's also not going to happen naturally every time. It's not a given.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have to lay enough eggs and in all the right places for that to. There's a lot of conditions for you to activate this card's
power. I don't
power.
play it very often, but I would say that when I do, it often goes it feels like it goes quite well.
Do you? Okay.
Maybe a nothing comment that.
Yeah. But then
do people only play it if they know it will work well for them?
But I just
what I'm trying to say.
The only way I can see maybe that it would contribute to high win percentages as per the Monster Couch stats is if playing it encourages you to have a very egg-heavy game, and maybe an egg-heavy game is a game-winning strategy as compared to other strategies, possibly.
I mean, egg-heavy games are more difficult with the Oceania boards, aren't they? And I think that is because you get less eggs per activation compared to the pre-Oceania boards. And so I think if you're going for an egg-heavy game post-Oceania, where you get less eggs, you need to be making a chain which gets you lots of free things per activation.
Absolutely.
And the Australian Magpie is taking up a space there and not giving you anything.
Exactly.
I mean, it is getting you one further along the chain, but if you're building an egg chain, you need to be activating that chain rather than just waiting for the game end power.
100%.
And you can't play the Australian Magpie at the end of the game because you'll be playing it in the 4th or the 5th column, where, as you rightly say, it'll be harder to max out its benefits. So, yet again, the stats shock us, don't they?
I guess the only other point is it does qualify for quite a few bonus cards. It's a yellow power, and if you get those down, you might be more likely to score highly on bonus cards, which are like different colour powers in a habitat.
Rats.
Eats rats. It's Australia, so it's a geography term. It's a stick nest. It's got only 2 egg capacity.
It's big enough to count for the big bird.
So it does qualify for quite a few of those.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But still, I still find it hard to believe it wins more games than the Kakapo does. Do you know what I mean?
I completely agree. We'd be really interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Whether we just got the Australian Magpie completely wrong?
Yeah, please correct us. Tell us what we're doing wrong.
Yeah, are we? Are we doing it wrong? Because I'd love to know.
And Jamie, if you're listening,
just
can you let us know?
Yeah,
like you're the expert. Tell us what we're doing wrong.
Oh my! I don't know what I'd do if Jamie emailed in.
I think we'd become nervous wrecks, wouldn't we?
We would become nervous wrecks. Yeah. Oh god.
But cool. Another good bird of the week. Certainly a thought-provoking one.
I've just gone speechless thinking about Jamie.
Yeah,
thinking about him writing in.
But look, come on, we've done enough beating around the bush. We want to get on to a topic that I know you're keen on this week.
Oh yeah, I am. Yeah.
So for those listeners who maybe haven't heard about this, there are a number of campaigns out there, which are effectively a way of playing a series of games of Wingspan, in which the games can connect with each other or play into one another or contribute to a kind of final score that allows all the games to contribute to that, and often is tied into some kind of storyline, which is quite cool, and I think really accentuates the storytelling fun side of board games generally, but in particular with Wingspan.
And I mean, so very often people will play a game, but they'll play it with their group. And so I know certainly when we started playing Wingspan, it would be our house would play it, wouldn't we? During lockdown, our house, and it'd be 3 or 4 of us every single day, and you play with your group. And Wingspan is one of those games that people play so much. People play it multiple times per week with the exact same group. And so people naturally, they start doing leagues, or they start keeping stats like some of our brilliant fans do. And actually what a campaign allows you to do, it allows you to add a little bit more edge as well, because it's effectively like a league over a period of time. It values you doing well over a period of time over games which are linked to each other. And I think the other thing I like about it is it revalues birds. And so there are some birds that I would never play in a normal game that suddenly become very strong
there you go.
In a campaign. And that makes suddenly you're unlocking whole new aspects of Wingspan, which you've never really used before. And so that's one of the major things that I really liked. So the one that I played this weekend with my mum was called Wings of the Tropics.
Yeah, cool
and
name.
It's a great name, isn't it? And in the interest of balance, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to quickly mention the other 3 fan ones in one sentence. We can talk about them another time.
Yeah, cool.
Wings of the Tropics, I would say, is probably one of the more advanced ones.
Okay.
And I'd go from maybe least advanced to most advanced, because if our listeners are going to want to play one eventually, I think maybe it's our duty to give them
plan.
So probably the simplest I would say is called Balanced Sanctuary. It's a 5-game campaign. This is less of a storyline. You just have to play the 5 games in a random order, but you do get points cumulatively through the campaign. So if you're a bit overwhelmed, a bit worried about complexity, I would start with that one. One of the first ones that came out is called Nature Preserve. That's 7 games. An interesting aspect of this one is that you have an anchor bird. So you have a bird that you can take over different games. So it will start, before the game even starts, it will start on your mat. And often it will start full of eggs. So there's a lot of tactics in terms of what bird you take forward, because that's there. Then there's Imagine, which you've had a quick look at, haven't you? It's one I'd not heard about until the weekend, which is it's imagining a dystopian Wingspan universe. Which sounds a little bit scary, but it's really interesting. You kind of do a blind auction for the opening hand, is my understanding of it, but that looks good. And then what we'll talk about today is we'll talk about Wings of the Tropics. Wings of the Tropics is a 8 game campaign made by a fan from the UK called Bradley, who's actually got in contact with us earlier this week. And he grew up in East Anglia, which is a beautiful part of England, in a national park, which the name escapes me.
The Broads.
The Broads. And there's lots of conservation efforts there. And so he had an inspiration to make a campaign from it, and his campaign is brilliant because there is a storyline that runs the whole way through. Each player has a character, and your character has a slightly special power and gets slightly different bonuses as the campaign goes on. And so what it nicely does is it slightly unbalances the game, and it really makes it feel like you are in a story, because my character, the zoologist, for example, is different from your character, the ornithologist. Yeah. And you are getting different free stuff compared to me. And it just made it really feel unique. And so I think you've got there how he play tested it, didn't he?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. He said he lives with a couple of flatmates, and he said that he secretly play tested it on them, which I think is excellent.
Cheeky.
So he said, the writing process, I tested a bunch of the rules and tweaks on the normal gameplay on my 2 flatmates secretly, which is excellent. Yeah. And so he would, secretly analyze how they would play certain cards, or how they would play certain tweaks that he would introduce, which is really cool. Yeah. And he's come up with this really quite complicated and intricate gameplay with a really interesting storyline that goes along with it. I think it's really fun. Really fun.
I mean, you did say complicated there. It's not hard to follow. I wouldn't let it put people off at all. Yeah. It's not hard to follow. It's really easy to pick up.
And he really does spell everything out. There's quite an extensive document that comes with it.
Now, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, because it's the whole point in campaigns, but I've already mentioned one aspect about taking a base bird over into the next game. And if I just mention one aspect, because I'd like to know what you would do in this scenario, okay? So I was towards the end of one game, and I found out at the end of the game that I could take forward one of my birds that was on my mat into the next game, and it would start on my mat in the next game. Okay, there are lots of other little bonuses which I'll let you guys find out when you get there. Various different aspects that I want to tell you now, but I will not. And I had 2 choices between 2 different birds. I could either take the rosy starling or the common goldeneye. And so I'll just very briefly explain the powers. The rosy starling can live anywhere. It costs 3 foods. It's 4 points off the top of my head. But the real clincher, it's a brown power, and it's when activated, you may tuck up to 3 cards under this bird. If you do, you gain 1 witch tea grub or invertebrate or whatever people call it.
And it lives anywhere, doesn't it?
And it lives anywhere. Yeah. The other one, common goldeneye, lives either in the forest or the wetlands, and it's a brown power. So it's a blue power, So it's a round end power, and the round end power is lay 1 egg on this bird for each other bird with a cavity nest that you have.
Yeah.
So I found out that I could take either of those birds forward.
Oh, I want both.
Yeah, I know, but you can't have both.
They work together as well.
But you know you can't get them.
So
you're going to start with that, and then you're going to have a normal opening hand next time.
Okay.
What would you do?
Okay.
I'm on for ages.
Oh, do you know what? Instinctively, I would say if you got, say, 2 opening hands, and one of them had a Rosy Starling in, and one of them had the Common Goldeneye in, and I would be more excited to receive the Rosy Starling than I think the Common Goldeneye. But I also think the Common Goldeneye is so powerful. It doesn't rely on other players. So sometimes a lot of these blue lay egg at the end of round powers rely on what other players do. Thinking of something like the Dunnock. But with the Common Goldeneye, your fate is completely in your own hands.
Yeah.
You've got complete control over it. I'd say the only caveat to that is you do need to pick up cavity nests.
And that's the thing. Normally, when you have the Common Goldeneye in your opening hand, you can see the birds in the tray and you can see the birds in your hand, so you know how many other ones you've got. Whereas this way, you're blindly taking it forward.
Yeah, that's true.
And so maybe it's my predilection for these blue end of round powers. I absolutely love them, and I tend to avoid building water chains because I find them a little bit dull. I took forward the Common Goldeneye.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I worried that the Rosy Starling would completely hamstring me into trying to build a water tucking chain.
Yeah.
And whereas I thought the Common Goldeneye actually gave me a good boost, but it didn't commit me down a path.
True. I can see that. I personally, I'd probably have gone Rosy Starling because I have maybe more of a tendency to go for a tucking chain than you do.
And if I can give you, but this is the thing, in the campaign, I didn't know what the target was going to be for the next game. So some games you're targeting things like making a particular chain or clearing something or drawing loads of cards from the deck, for example, or getting a piece. Cool. So you don't know what the target for the next game is. And so my worry was with the Starling, I'd just be so busy tucking all the cards under my hand that I wouldn't actually have been able to get on with what the campaign was.
Really good. It's really as you said at the start with these campaigns, it's just a really good way of making you think about the game differently and almost testing it kind of tests out what your opinions of birds are.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you think differently about the game, which is just, I mean, what we say is we love this variety, and so it's another way to experience the game. So Bradley, thank you for getting in contact. Really enjoyed the campaign. You should try it with Ellie sometime.
Yeah, no, it's made me really want to go and do it. So I might go home and play a game tonight.
And maybe a Full Tuck exclusive, actually.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
this is really exciting.
This is a Full Tuck exclusive. We can actually announce officially for the first time that there is going to be a second Wings of the Tropics campaign. It's going to be called Wings of the Oasis, which Bradley is currently making as we speak, probably testing it on his flatmates as we speak,
and has really kindly given us the honour of the world exclusive announcment of this.
And to Bradley's flatmates, if you're listening, our understanding is that this is news to you. So thank you for being excellent guinea pigs. You've created an excellent campaign. And,
whether you knew it or not.
You should get the credits. You should be on the credits at the bottom.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Okay, well, that's that. So that one is called Wings of the Tropics. What we should do is we should put a link in the show notes to Stonemaier have this website. One of the links on their website is Fan Creations. And in the fan creations section of the website, there's a campaign section, and it lists all the campaigns. So we'll make sure that we put the show notes in so that you guys can directly access them if you want.
And it's also on Board Game Geek. So have a look on either of those resources and you'll be able to find that.
Brill. Okay, quick break and then starting hand review.
Absolutely. Get into next week.
Lovely stuff. Okay, opening hand time for show number 8. We are playing a 2-player game and we're going second. Your first card is the Carolina Wren. It can only live in the trees. It costs a witch to grub or a cherry. It's worth 1 point. It has a cavity nest. It can hold 5 eggs and it's a white when played power. When played, draw 2 cards. Second, the Rock Pigeon can only live in the grasslands. It costs a witch to grub or a wheat.
It is worth 0 points. It's a sticks or platform nest. It holds 4 eggs. It's a brown when activated power. When activated, all players lay 1 egg. You lay 1 additional egg. Third is the common goldeneye. This can live in the forest or the waterlands. It costs a witchetty grub and a fish. It is worth 2 points. It's a cavity nest as well. It can hold 4 eggs, and it's a blue round end power. And round end lay 1 egg on this bird for each other bird with a cavity nest that you have. Fourth bird, is the goldcrest. It can only live in the forest. It costs a witchetty grub. It's worth 1 point. It's a bowl nest, can hold 6 eggs, brown when activated power. Discard 1 card from your hand. If you do, play another bird in your trees, pay its normal food and egg cost. And your last bird in your hand is the sacred kingfisher. It can live anywhere. It costs a witchetty grub, or a fish, or a rat. It's worth 0 points. It's a cavity nest. It's a pink once between turns power. Once between turns, when another player takes the gain food action, gain 1 witchetty grub, fish, or rat from the bird feeder, if there is one, at the end of their turn.
And then we've got a couple of bonus cards. So we've got the winter feeder, which is food remaining in your supply at the end of the game. 4 to 6 food is 4 points, and 7 plus food is 7 points. And the photographer, which is birds with colours in their names. 4 to 5 birds is 3 points, and 6 plus birds is 6 points.
And then in the tray, Lewin's Honey Eater only lives in the trees. It costs a cherry and a nectar. It's 5 points. It's a bowl nest with 2 egg capacity. Brown when activated power. When activated, choose 1 other player. You both gain 1 nectar from the supply. Second, the Desert Wheat Ear costs a witchetty grub or a wheat. It's worth 2 points. It's a stones or pebbles nest and can hold 2 eggs. Brown when activated power. When activated, for each bird in your grasslands with an egg on it, roll any 1 dice. Choose 1 type of food you rolled and gain 1 of that food from the supply. And lastly is Udin's Gull. Does it need an introduction?
Oh, I know.
Udin's Gull only lives in the wetlands. It costs a fish and an anything. It's worth 1 point. It's a stones or pebbles nest. It's got a 2 egg capacity, brown when activated power. Draw 2 from the deck, tuck 1 behind this bird and keep the other.
And then we've got 4 end of round goals. So round 1 is pebble nest birds with eggs on them. Round 2 is total number of eggs, another Jacob Bruner special. Round 3 is filled columns. And round 4 is brown powers.
Excellent. So write in, comment.
Excellent.
We
Nice.
are fulltuckpodcast@gmail.com. We accept comments on any of the platforms that you listen to us to. Let us know what you think about the show, about our new art. And we love your engagement. And as always, there will be links in the show notes to the opening hand. And also this week to the campaign, so you can have a look at them. And I think that should do us all, Aidan.
Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate all your support as always. And happy wingspanning. See you next time.
Have a great week, guys. Bye-bye.